No, the whole stream. Just start the thing up, put the audio in. Can you hear me now? I wonder. Do you want to check that, Stephen?
Yeah, so let's check it before we go to
the Yes. I'm live and interactive, you're not. I'm just checking the audio to make sure it's working hunky-dory. Jolly good.
Let us see.
Is it working? You're on now, you're live. Are you hearing the audio? Jolly good, let's get right into it then. No need to restart the stream. Remember back in the day I used to restart the entire stream because the audio wasn't working. What a twat. Oh, not anymore. Just check the check boxes on the mixing part of the OBS. Yeah. Well, hello everybody and welcome into our entertainment news. This is Monday. I am Jonathan C. Walsh. I will be your host on the show tonight, on the stream tonight. Joining me to the left is Stephen John McLaughlin. He's a co-host on the stream tonight. Stephen, we have already done an introduction. It was a shite introduction, truth be told. This one's much better, even though I'm speaking like the spawn of fucking Jacob Rees-Mogg or Prince Charles, King Charles. Going to talk about Oasis tonight, and I'm going to ditch this fucking accent. Oasis, one topic, keeping it short and sweet. It should have been shorter again, because I fucked intro up, so we've had to add another 5 minutes onto the experience. But Stephen, going to be discussing Oasis. There has been news dropped, I believe, 3 days ago. One Stephen Knight of Peaky Blinders fame, and I believe 1,000 Blows is his latest TV show with Stephen Graham, set in London. Yeah. Is set to come on and produce. I'm going to bring this up and it's going to be shambolic until I can get the actual browser up. It's set to produce a new movie regarding the infamous 90s Zeitgeist band. We don't know any more details at the moment. I was just looking for the right word to say there, and I thought Zeitgeist was the best. Because they were a Zeitgeist. They were a whole movement at that time. We like to talk about Britpop and we fling and throw other bands in who weren't really Britpop, were they? The likes of Pulp and fucking Verve. But they pop. Were Oasis pop? Were Blur pop? I suppose Blur were pop with girls and boys and part life and stuff like that. That was poppy, wasn't it? That wasn't really rock and roll.
Oh, no. In terms of Britpop, I always have like a section of bands, and it's mostly the bands that I wasn't really into that I sort of pigeonhole into that label of Britpop. The likes of Menswear, Elastica, Supergrass.
Yeah.
I know you like Supergrass.
I like Supergrass, yeah.
Bands like that, I've never regarded Oasis as a Britpop band, although they were just out round about that time of that sort of thing, and they kind of get lumped in with them, obviously, by the mainstream media and like that. And same with the Verve as well, certainly not a pop band. But John, in terms of Oasis...
I'm just fucking about this, how you speak, Stephen. You just keep talking. I'm mucking about with my capsule boxes or a shan't.
I thought you said my sound was away there.
Oh, no, you're all right. I hope your sound's all right. It should be fine.
Yeah, I checked it there. I double checked. But in terms of the band Oasis, they've got an interesting story to tell. And, if you've watched any of the documentaries over the last 10, 15 years, you'll know that there's a story there that can be cinematically told.
Yeah.
The thing, and I've said this before about obviously biopics, it's a very tricky thing to successfully do, because it's going to go either really bad or it's going to be okay. Yeah. It's never amazingly good. Elvis was good. I've not seen the Dylan one yet. I'm sure it's pretty good.
It's pretty good, yeah.
But there's always that thing. I think in terms of if you're a fan, a super fan of any of these artists or bands, it can be very hard to sort of process and condition yourself into believing they're playing the people that you idolise.
Yeah.
And that's why I stay away from Beatles films mostly, unless it's maybe the young sort of part of their life, like Nowhere Boy, which was a pretty good film, and a good portrayal by Aaron Taylor Johnson. But that was before Lennon was famous, and it's when they get to the Backbeat stage, that film Backbeat, or anything that's came after it. It's a couple of sort of TV movies, the Linda McCartney story, which was interesting, but I couldn't buy into the chap playing Paul McCartney in it. He actually looked like Gordon Duncan, the guy you were just talking about before we came on. That's who he looked
doesn't look like Paul McCartney.
No. Doesn't look like Paul. He looks like,
He looks like Gordon Duncan.
Funnily enough, looks like Arthur, his grandson. He does look like him, actually, when you think about it.
Yeah, he's a strange-looking guy, Gordon Duncan. He's a strange-looking little chap. I don't know, I can't put my finger on it. There's something off with him. He looks as though he has powdered hair. But he doesn't. He's got a very good hairline. But he just looks weird. He's a weird-looking little guy. Stephen, it's obviously immensely interesting when you take a guy of Stephen Knight's stature in the filmmaking industry. He's a guy who's been mighty successful with the likes of Peaky Blinders, one of my favourite TV shows, who's got experience working with incredible actors like Adrian Brody, Cillian Murphy, women that passed away, brilliant actress, forget her name, which is terrible. She was married to your man that played Dick Winters in Band of Brothers, Damien Lewis. She passed away tragically. But brilliant actors within there. Tom Hardy in there. This is an established filmmaker. I don't know much about him as a producer, but I do believe he was very hands-on with Peaky Blinders in its entirety, so not just like directing and stuff like that. He actually took the vision for the story and pieced the whole show together. So he's experienced. He's a good guy to get on board for this kind of project. It really does come down to what they are planning doing. Are they planning doing what you're suggesting, where it could be like an actual biopic where you recast or you cast what actors to play the story? Because that would be really interesting. That's something I've not ever seen. We've seen a whole multitude of Beatles biopics. We've never really seen a Rolling Stones one, funnily enough, and they've got such a colourful history of obviously hammering drugs and drink and just out and about doing all manner of crazy fucking things over 60 plus years, out and about, but never had a film of them. Maybe because they're still alive and kicking and going strong, they like to wait until they're either retired or they've shuffled off this mortal coil before they start looking into doing stuff like that. But I'd love to see a biopic. I think that would be epic. Again, the casting is so important at that point then, because they're so distinct in their looks. Yeah. Noel and Liam in particular, even Bonehead, very distinct looking guy. It's enormously difficult at that point to get a talented actor who's not just going to come in and do a fucking impression for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, because we've seen that guy that could do Harrison Ford's sort of Han Solo or Indiana Jones, I forget his name, but he's not an actor. Ingruber, yeah. He's not a proper actor though. He looks like him and he can do the voice, but that's not what acting is. Acting, you're portraying a role, you're portraying a character, but you're delving into it and you're adding your own sort of stuff to the performance. It's not just an impression. If you want to do that, you can go onto TikTok and fucking watch the likes of that guy, Friend. What's his name? Yeah. Matt Friend.
Matt Friend, yeah.
Fucking doing Jeff Goldblum or something. It loses interest. Yeah, you can't do that for 2.5 hours. So at that point, it'd be so difficult to cast those two in particular. And then if you are trying to go, I mean, it's such a difficult thing to get right.
Casting is a tricky thing, especially with larger-than-life characters like the Gallagher brothers. And it's going to be, if that's the road they're going down, as you said. The other thing that concerns me is the directors of choice, and I'm not doubting their abilities or anything like that, but looking at their IMDb, they're actually billed to be doing the Oasis Live 25 thing, which suggests to me there is going to be a film behind the scenes of that.
Well, I put that as a sort of question on the thumbnail, because we don't know which way they're going to go with it. It could be a biopic, it could be a fly-in-the-wall documentary, it could be just a straight-laced tour of it.
Sonic only came out less than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was supposed to be the definitive, that was the approved one from Noel and Liam and everyone else that was involved in that. But Dylan Southern and Will Lovelace, who are directing this new project, have worked with the likes of Franz Ferdinand in the past, the Arctic Monkeys and Blur. and they've always been sort of behind the scenes music stuff. The Blur one, I can't remember what it's called, Till the End or something like that. It was a documentary, and the Arctic Monkeys was a music video.
Distance Left to Run, yeah.
Yeah, Bjork was another one, and I think it was Ulysses was the Franz Ferdinand video.
I love that video. I love that song. That was one of my favourites from him. Yeah.
In terms of obviously artistic choice, I think they're the right makeup for this sort of project, but it kind of does suggest to me that perhaps maybe it is a more behind the scenes thing rather than. But that's not to say that it's a behind the scenes thing with the actual Noel Gallagher and Liam Gallagher. It could be a film, like a mockumentary, like actors playing, a behind the scenes sort of thing, like a mockumentary, like The Office or whatever you might want to think. It might be.
There's so many potential avenues you could go down with in an Oasis movie. It could be a biopic starring their rise or telling, regaling, whatever adjective you want to fucking use, their rise from nothing to being discovered in King Tut's out in Glasgow to becoming this super stardom kind of act to falling apart and bickering and fighting to coming back again, and then you have the sort of triumphant end where they walk on stage or something. I don't know how they could do it. Obviously, you're not going to show the entire concert, but it could be like them walking out, the actual brothers at the end. That would be a kind of nice way to end that kind of film. And it's
I think the reason I like that style of thing, John, is because not many people experience that in life. That sort of standing backstage and you can hear the crowd and all that kind of thing. And when you watch a documentary, and you saw it, I think Live Aid was one of the first ones I saw, Freddie Mercury getting ready to go on to the stage on Wembley in 1985, and you can hear the crowd, and I'm like, and you're there with them, as an audience member, and it's the closest thing that any ordinary person would get to experience what that must be like for an artist to step out into that arena.
There's something about that, Stephen, not just music, but I've been getting back into WWE recently because of CM Punk, who I enjoyed many moons back, who was in it 10 years ago. So I've been watching the sort of live shows, looking at the social media stuff, and WWE do a brilliant thing now where they sometimes will follow the wrestler or the performer, whatever you want to call them, because they're not really wrestling, aren't they? It's an act, it's entertainment. Sports entertainment, they used to call it back in the day. But they'll follow them behind the scenes right up until the curtain, the music's playing, and then they walk out and they follow them out into the arena. And you get to see the adulation, them doing their thing up close and personal. You get to live vicariously through them, coming out in front of 15, 20,000 people. Imagine that with Oasis, but it's 50, 60, 70, 80,000 people. Gigs in Manchester or even Wembley. That will be fucking epic. Personally, if I had to have my choice, I wouldn't mind a biopic, but I personally would like to see nuts and bolts of this tour. Journeying through the process of them getting together, sort of doing sound checks and behind the scenes stuff, them talking, the jokes. We've all seen the video, Stephen, from 30 years ago of them in that bedroom, and Liam's got the Man City sort of shell jacket on. And they've got cider and they're having a laugh and they're back and forth, bantering. Young as hell, obviously, at that point. But there's something about those two and the group themselves, when they get together, the energy, the chemistry's there, even though there's been differences and fighting and they've split up. I'm sure once they get back in a room together, the magic will return and the personalities will be bouncing off each other. And it would be criminal when you've got this opportunity and you don't know if it's the last opportunity you're going to get to see these guys in a room again, and then going on and performing live. It'd be criminal not to capture that. For what is it they used in, what was that fucking word they used in Tenet? Posterity. For future generations, it would be criminal not to have cameras there and just documenting the entire process. I personally would be fascinated with that.
I think that's why at the moment there's not a lot of information on what it's going to be, and just looking through various websites, that cover music and documentaries and film and stuff like that, And just I'm looking at two headlines right away. One's from Fandom Wire saying Oasis movie confirmed by Peaky Blinders director. Will it feature Noel and Liam's infamous fights, which suggests it will be a biopic?
Yeah.
But the other one I'm looking at right next to it is from a music website called Consequence. And it says Oasis confirmed new documentary capturing upcoming reunion tour. So it's either going to be one or the other, or we're getting both. And
I kind of hinted at that, where you do kind of do a semi-biopic where it charts their rise and then the band falling apart and the bickering and them not speaking, and then bleeds into a kind of fly in the wall situation where they're back together and then they go out and perform. I don't know how you can make that work, having those two creative ideas meshing together. I mean, it'd be far too long, I'd imagine, to tell a fitting story of their biopic, their rise to where they were in the 90s into the 2000s, and then it falling apart, then ending with a sort of kind of documentary experience with a new tour. That'd be mega long. It'd be like 3 hours long, minimum, if not 4. So I don't think you've got enough time to make that into a feature length, unless they were to change it from a film into like a mini-series. It's like a 6-part, hour-long mini-series. You know what I mean? Six episodes of an hour long. Almost like what Peter Jackson. I was about to say Peter Martin. Not Peter Martin. Peter Jackson. George Martin and Peter Jackson together. What Peter Jackson did with the Get Back stuff, where it was like 4 episodes, fucking an hour long. Then you could do that kind of thing. But again, I don't think any studio or money sort of lending figure, whoever the fuck's involved in I think it's banks and financial organisations, it's not a singular entity who funds these sort of creative things in Hollywood. I don't think there's anybody would green light a biopic mixing into a documentary kind of thing. They'd want to have them be separate things. They'd want to have a biopic kind of film, biopic, getting into Americanisms. And then they'd want to have a fly-in-the-wall documentary separate, because then they could monetise it twice.
Yeah, well, this is
and it would be different audiences it'd be catering for. So,
I mean, as I say, it's going to be one. It's going to be one or the other, or it's going to be both. I don't think, as you said, an amalgamation of both genres, a documentary and a biopic. It'd be too long, and it'd be quite. I don't know. Confusing as well.
Yeah, would it be jarring?
Yeah.
Because if you've got actors playing Noel and Liam and Bonehead, and then it goes into the real guys, it'd be like, the fuck is this? You'd be tripping. But then you'd be like, is this the same thing? It just wouldn't work.
At this point towards a biopic to me, just because of the directors who are involved and they've got previous and doing music videos and documentaries, rather than directing a feature film, which they don't have any experience in. Well, not according to IMDb anyway. But it's just funny that if you go into IMDb and look up these two directors, they're actually linked to 2. One is the Live 25, and the other one's an upcoming Oasis project. It's kind of confusing. I think IMDb are just playing it safe and putting both up because they are not sure either at this point. Harrison Ford and The Last Jedi type thing.
Yeah, I'm just reading about them just now, and you're right. They're renowned for working with acts and doing kind of documentary things, where it's like focusing on live tours and stuff like that, and just showing you the nuts and bolts behind the scenes kind of operations and what it's like to be with these people when they're performing. So I mean, I've been calling for this since the tour got announced. Obviously, we're not fortunate. We're not one of the fortunate thousands to get a ticket, despite the fact I was fucking queuing for hours on end and get into a special ballot and still didn't get a fucking ticket. We're not one of the fortunate number going to see them, or unfortunate if you actually look at the kind of crowds that do go and see them. Sadly, it's not a reflection on Noel or Liam, but I've said this before, they're fucking twats. A lot of the people, it's the same kind of people that go and see the Stone Roses. Bucket hats everywhere and just fucking bellends. Unfortunately, I mean, that's a reality, it is. But because we're not fortunate to see them, then obviously we'd like to watch it. Is it doing that again? Yeah, Mike's doing the fucking yell. I don't want to take it off and speak into it, because then it'll be like eardrums will be getting obliterated everywhere.
Yeah.
For the unfortunate people who are listening and probably can't understand me anyway, they're then going to lose their hearing, thanks to me. But we're not fortunate enough to see it. So I'm selfish. I want to see the performances. I want to see the tour. I want to fucking feel what it's like to be in these venues in this sort of epic moment where these two guys get back together, the band get back together, and the only way you'll get to do that, because they're adamant that it won't be televised, is through a kind of documentary experience like this. So
What Liam said, he said in his tweet, didn't he, when it was announced, this will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. That's what he said. That was his own words. But it's Liam Gallagher.
Yeah, but they also said that they wouldn't allow reselling for tickets and like touting. And then they kind of touted their own tickets at 20 times the original price. So
these type of events should be documented in
they
film,
should,
because they're unique. I don't think they're going to be doing many of them. I would like to think if this goes well, they would, but I've got reservations about that, John. I mean, you've got to remember, you know, Liam's in his early 50s now. Noel's closer to 60 now.
Is he that old? Yeah, fucking hell.
Yeah, well, 67 he was born, Noel Gallagher.
Fucking hell, yes, he's 57. Jesus Christ,
and
terrifying.
Liam's 5 years younger, so
yeah,
Liam's
he's
53 this year. So they're not getting any younger, and they'll not want to be doing this forever. I mean, I know there's a lot of folks out there that believe the reasons for them doing this is for the money. Of course it's for money. They're not doing it for free, so they're doing it for fucking money.
Yeah,
but I think as well, they've always said as well that they feel sorry for the fans and the generations that didn't get to see them live. So this is an opportunity, and although it's going to be a select few.
That's wishful thinking from them. It's all the old farts that have fucking bought a ticket, so...
Well, yeah, I mean, the ones that want to just be there because it's a happening as well, John. The ones that will probably have their phones out for most of the time, not even looking at them. The ones that are looking at their phone, looking at them through their phone.
It's like the kind of...
That's just the reality.
Sorry, yeah, the audio went out a bit there briefly. It does. I don't know if it's my speakers. It is my speakers, because people can... I've listened and your audio does not disappear in the actual stream. But for me, it just flickers out every now and again, which is annoying, because then I start wanting to talk, because I can't shut the fuck up. And I don't realise until I look that you're actually still speaking. It's like, I don't want to come across as being ignorant. Yeah, it's like the twats that buy up vintage guitars that can't play a guitar, but they've got money, so they buy all the guitars up. It's like, you fucking bellends. Give that to someone that will actually appreciate it and play it. Like Joe Bonamassa, who's got about 50,000 vintage guitars. At least he plays them. Yeah, it's just, that's the way, that's the nature of life. Money goes to money, and the people with money tend to be slightly older. And look, to be fair, in this case, Stephen, they are the actual fans of the band. So it's only fair that they go and see it.
But if you had to have the choice, what would it be? Would it be the biopic, or would it be the behind the scenes?
Probably behind the scenes, to be honest, because there's so much time left to tell their story. We can do a biopic in 10 years when they're probably done for good. And there's maybe actors out who are more befitting to play them, because right now I can't think of two actors, male actors, it's not going to be a fucking female actor, is it, who can play Liam or Noel. I can't think of a single actor. But Austin Butler, made to play Elvis. Rami Malek, made to play Freddie Mercury. Taron Egerton, kind of made to play Elton John. Fucking blank. Timothy Chalamet, made to play Bob Dylan. Joaquin Phoenix, made to play Johnny Cash. Val Kilmer, made to play your man from the Doors. Blank on his name, Jim Morrison. These guys were kind of, the likeness was kind of there. The acting prowess was there. And it just worked perfectly. It just clicked into gear. With these two, there's not really actors out there at this moment, I think, could do it justice.
Sometimes it can happen, and sometimes it's got to be the right time, as you said, John. And then sometimes those moments pass and that opportunity is missed. I always remember in the sort of late 90s, there was talk, I don't know if this ever happened, I might have happened, maybe somebody out there can maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I always remember the sort of chat about a Keith Moon biopic, and Mike Myers was going to play him at that time. And
That wouldn't have been
I thought
horrendous.
it would have been great because Mike Myers at the time was on top of his game, a lot younger than he is now, of course.
Yeah.
And he's got a musical background. He knows his stuff, especially British music. And it's one of those moments that just I assume just passed because I don't think I've ever seen anything that
And you know,
he
Stephen,
did.
the likeness is there as well. When he was younger, with Mike, he kind of looked like him. And
he did, yeah.
And surprisingly to me, I've listened to a very funny guy, Keith Moon, incidentally.
Yeah.
Him and Pete Townsend. But I'd never really heard him speaking until relatively recently. And he was he had quite a posh way about him. Kind of posh way of speaking. And we know Mike can do that because he was in Inglourious Bastards and done a kind of posh English accent. So
Right, yeah.
I think that would have worked brilliantly, but sadly the time has passed and he's a lot older now, so he's looking fucking weird now, by the way. He looks like Kim Jong-un.
Saturday Night Live thing. He was in the crowd when Macca was on, and he was actually in tears. The tears were running down his face when they were singing the Golden Slumber stuff.
Yeah.
And he looks like Michael McIntyre.
He looks like Kim Jong-un. Holy shit. That's crazy. You know who Kim Jong-un is, and yeah, I'm going to search about Kim Jong-un.
I love Mike Myers.
I love Mike Myers as well. He's brilliant. I'm not taking the piss. Genuinely brilliant guy. But he does look like Kim Jong-un. Holy shit.
It's the hair. He's got exactly the same hair as him.
It's fucking wild.
Yeah.
Holy shit. That is wild. That is great. Oh, that's brilliant. But yeah, that would have worked. Even the clothes. That's brilliant. Oh, Mike. I love Mike, man. I love Mike. I grew up watching this guy's movies. He's a fucking genius. Absolutely brilliant guy. I loved Austin Powers growing up. I don't think it's aged particularly well. I don't think you can do that kind of stuff now. But certainly at the time, I loved it. Shrek, I loved the Shrek movies, Wayne's World. So many things he was in.
Yeah.
So I want to stress I'm not taking the piss out of Mike. Mike is great. Brilliant guy, brilliant actor. But he does look like Kim Jong-un at the moment, and he has to address that. It could be worse. It could look like other people. I can't talk about anybody. I have a bent nose. So, horses for courses, no jazz. But, yeah, I mean, that would have worked. That would have been great. That's a movie we've sadly missed out, and it could have maybe have taken his career off in a different direction, because we've seen that with the likes of Jim Carrey, who was a more comedic-based actor. Obviously, he's since went on and done comedy after the more serious roles, the likes of Sunshine of the... what is it? Sunshine of the Eternal... Eternal Spotless. I'm combining about 50. I'm thinking of Spotless Mind and Sunshine and Eternal. They all go together, but I don't know the combination.
Sunshine of the Spotless
Mind. 23, number 23, I think was the other one. Also the Truman Show. He done some really brilliant, serious, drama-driven performances after he'd established himself as a comedic actor. Sadly for Jim, it didn't really work out in terms of getting Academy Awards and maybe cement himself as a more drama-driven actor, but certainly Mike was a fucking great actor. That could have really have took him off in a different direction, and if it paid off, we know the story of Keith Moon. Tragic figure, brilliantly talented in terms of music, and his performances behind the cymbals, the drums.
I'll tell you the biopic I would love to see, John, is the Beastie Boys.
Oh yeah.
I'd love to see a biopic of them.
Yeah.
Just a very interesting bunch of guys, and throughout their career, and seeing them growing up as well, and establishing themselves as one of the first white rap bands of the time, and just it would have been incredible, and perhaps maybe that one day it will get done. But in terms of biopics, I mean, this talk about the one with the Beatles' individual stories, I just no interest in that kind of stuff whatsoever. I don't think it will work, because you're not going to get a happy medium. You're not going to get everyone agreeing on the narrative from the states of George Harrison and John Lennon.
And with Paul still alive and rewriting history on the day, They throw the "le" in there. You just know he's going to have creative control over it because George is no longer there and John's no longer there and Ringo's a little bit meek when it comes to these kind of things. So you'd get a complete rewriting of history. And it'd be like Paul starting the band, Paul coming up with this song, Paul doing this, and Paul recruiting Ringo, and Paul fucking... I love Paul, but he's rewriting history.
But it's
like King the Conqueror, but in real life.
In the last 20 years, he's putting his mark on famous
Lennon songs.
Lennon songs where he'll talk about slowing down the tempo of Come Together, or one of his favourite bass lines is from Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite. And I'm like, you're just trying to get in there. You're getting in the act. We know what you did. We know...
That is a good bass line, to be fair.
It is a fantastic one, but...
That's one of the more iconic ones.
I think it's deliberately selected, though, from him. You know, to... I did that, I did that, I did that. You know, on John's stuff. I helped him within my life.
Well, I mean, lovely reiterate. I think the kazoo bits are the best bits, and that certainly wasn't Macca. That was John and George, by all accounts, so... Can shove that in his fucking cake and then eat it.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's just that, you know, you get the Revolver Super Deluxe edition came out 2 years ago, and then you establish that a big part of the Yellow Submarine song was actually John Lennon. And for years they'd been banding it about that was his song entirely, you know, so it kind of puts doubt in your head about the narrative and what is the intent here. Is it legacy?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't get it because his legacy's cemented. Everyone knows how great Paul is. He was an incredible multi-instrumental artist. One of the greatest vocal ranges in the history of music. It's right up there with the likes of Mariah Carey and Michael Jackson and these brilliant singers, Roy Orbison and Elvis. Guy could do everything. He could go really, really low. He could go really, really high. His gift for finding melodies, he was a melodic genius. He doesn't have to rewrite history. Paul is fucking great in his own right.
I think Noel Gallagher will want to outlive Liam in case that happens to him.
Nah, see, it's different, Stephen. The dynamic in Oasis is different. Everyone knows the score. They know that Noel is the brains behind the operation. Liam, there wouldn't be Oasis without Liam. Liam is Oasis in the sense that his aura and the energy he brought as a leading guy, a frontman, and his vocals on the sort of standout hits, Live Forever and Champagne Supernova, they are the sort of songs that define Oasis for me, and it's all about Liam and what he brings to the performance. Noel, with his guitar work and his writing, just churning out hit after hit after hit to the point where you have those B-sides and Master Plan and Talk Tonight and Acquiesce, fucking songs that are good enough to be chart toppers.
They worked well together as a team, and there was a period where they perhaps wouldn't have admitted that, but I think over the last 5 or so years, even Noel said, you know, he's obviously commented on Liam's contributions to the band and what he brought to the band, something that he couldn't bring to the band. And Liam said the same thing about Noel. You know, he couldn't write the songs that Noel wrote. He couldn't play the guitar the way that Noel Gallagher can play the guitar, and the way he composes the songs as well. I think that's his sort of process, isn't it? Where he'll do the sort of old instruments and then bring it into the band and then kind of replicate it and put their own sort of touches on the Noel Gallagher vision for the product.
Oh, Stephen, I keep saying it, that last album that Noel done, he done a documentary behind the scenes, and it was fascinating watching him get in and really into a lead guitarist who came in and laid down a solo, just his thoughts. He would bounce off him, the guy would play, then he'd say, look, maybe tweak this. Just seeing his processing. And I watched this, that guitar, the guitar, I can't remember the name of it, I fucking clearly love it that much. That guitar pedal, that pedal show, I fucking can't remember the name of the actual thing. But they get some brilliant, the likes of Johnny Marr, I think, has been on, Noel's been on, Graham Coxon's been on, there's been some brilliant guitarists. Your guy from, not Johnny Greenwood, the other guitarist from Radiohead, and they do like not a biopic, but they kind of discuss their career and what inspired them and how they process playing the guitar and the pedals they use. It's just fascinating. And you got to see Noel's sort of the way he constructed songs on the guitar, how he plays the guitar, his fucking tone, how he got it from these amps and stuff. He's a fascinating guy, you know. but it's undoubted that he was the brains behind Oasis. Nobody, I mean, even if Liam and Noel were to pass away prematurely and it was only Bonehead left, there ain't no rewriting of history with Oasis. It's pretty fucking written in the sand, the stone, whatever the fucking hell you want to write in. I'm butchering phrases.
People were having that same conversation, John.
What's that?
I'm sure 60 years ago people were having that same conversation.
Oh, I know, but the Beatles, it is trickier, Stephen, because the Beatles, there was so many. I mean, the four of them were great. And even the side players were great. Billy Preston coming in to do like keyboard work, fucking great. George Martin, great. Jeff Emerick, great. Neil Aspinall, these were all great people.
Talk about them as individuals, and you're absolutely right. You know, to have four people in a band that are all at the top of their game is a very unique thing, and to have three lead singers in a band is a very unique thing as well.
And all getting number ones in America.
Obviously, solo careers are ever diminishing returns, and that's effective, I suppose. And I agree that no solo Beatles project is anywhere close to a Beatles project, and I would say the same for Oasis as well. But they've had their moments. You talked about Council Skies, John, a fantastic album. Liam Gallagher band as well, when they first broke up.
BDI,
they had some good songs, you know. And
The Roller.
you know that obviously when you listen to BDI, they weren't going to be around for long. It was just, I think it was a therapy thing for Liam more than anything, you know, before he went solo. But they had moments, you know, but again, together they work better than, you know, obviously working solo.
Oh, they definitely do, yeah, and that's why I'm buzzing to get them back together, and it's why ultimately I want to see it documented, like we said earlier. I want to see these two guys in the room again before they go on stage, bouncing off each other. I want to see the nervous energy, because it will be there, even though these guys are two incredibly experienced figures in sort of music world and touring. They've been round the block many, many times, different levels, Nebworth to small little shit-stained clubs and stuff like that. They've done it all. There'll still be nerves there when they have to go out and perform together as a band. And look, we've seen it with the Rolling Stones over the years, and certainly that last tour there, I was watching their stuff live on YouTube when it was getting streamed by fucking gimps who were there and videoing it all, but thankfully they were, because I got to see it. Keith Richards is making an arse of Start Me Up. It's a simple fucking chord that's open G and you just... But he made an arse of it. This guy's been touring for 50 fucking years. He's done it all. And he fucking scuffed the opening chord. So it takes time to get into the rhythm. And I fear for the poor people who are going to the first couple of shows, because they will be rusty. It'll take time for them to get right back in, but they will get back in eventually. And I want to see it all documented. I want to see the scuffed sort of openings and vocals not quite hitting. And then I want to see the brilliance when it does slide into place. I want to see all of that documented, warts and all. And
it's funny, John, because I've not seen many pictures of them together. Obviously, there was the promo shot at the Black and White shop, which was replicated for Comic Relief. I know we were talking about that before we came on, the In-Betweeners. But, John, I've not seen much in terms of coverage of them in the same room or a picture of them together or anything like that. So
I seen an image earlier, but I think it may have been AI.
Yeah, well...
It was a bit dodgy.
Perhaps. You just don't know these days, but I think once they start doing sound checks closer to obviously the gigs, we'll start to see the publicity start to snowball at that point. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to hear the interviews and the conversations. I know we know little bits about how it all started, them sort of connecting again, and I want to hear it from them. I want to hear those interviews. I want to hear those conversations about Liam phoning up Noel and working through their issues and stuff like that kind of thing. I don't know if they'll ever do that. They're not that open people. They don't really share those things with the public, but I want to see stuff. I want to see stuff like that. I want to see stuff with them doing sound checks. I want to see all the behind the scenes stuff. So that's why I kind of go for the more behind the scenes documentary thing rather than a biopic at this stage, because you're absolutely right, John. I think give us that maybe 10, 15 years time. And you can put all this stuff that's happening this year into that as well, you know?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at that, Mitch. That's fucking horrendous.
Yeah, I've seen that one. You know, it's funny because Liam looks a slightly overweight, and No Gallagher looks a bit like
Looks like fucking Deirdre.
Kevin Clancy.
Not cotton. Holy fuck. What's going on?
It's Kevin Clancy and Alan McGregor.
Yeah. Oh, it's demented, isn't it? What's going on with Liam? What is going on with him?
He's bloated.
What's going on with Noel's hands as well? He's morphed into King Charles. He's got short hands, but they're not, or small hands, but they're not that small. Fucking hell.
His face looks mental. It looks just like a puppet.
But I've always thought that, but Noel, to be fair, that Noel kind of... They look like Thunderbirds.
Yeah, Parker.
Yeah, they do. They fucking do. What's his name, Steve?
Parker.
Thunderbirds. Parker. I need to find this. This is good.
It's the laughter lines and the eyebrows.
Oh, that's fucking brilliant. Oh, that's great. Oh, shit. That's brilliant, isn't it? So I've always looked at him and thought he kind of looks like a puppet. So, yeah. A puppet would...
Or a potato.
Yeah, a puppet would kick your head in.
Liam called him for a good decade, wasn't it? The potato.
The potato, yeah. To be fair, Noel's always had the better stories, hasn't he? He ended Liam with that milk story, where he put the spoon in the milk jug or bottle. And what are you doing that? What's this? Why are you putting the fork in the champagne bottle? That keeps it fresh. Bullshit. That keeps it fresh. Up at Liam. In the milk bottle. Oh, so in terms of stories, man, I'm sorry, Noel's definitely get the winning. He's get the beating of Liam, hands down.
There was another story where it was a picture of it's one of Noel Gallagher's favourite photographs with David Bowie. It was backstage and the two of them were sharing a laugh and it was captured on, and Liam had saw this. He went, "What are you laughing about there?" And Noel said, "You." Just things like that.
Obviously the Maca story as well, you've heard that, haven't you?
Yeah.
What was it? Margarita?
The margarita.
Margarita.
Yeah.
It's a fucking drink. Or something like that. What's it called him? That's why I laugh at these people who talk about Paul McCartney like he's some angel that's never swore in his life. They have got no clue. Not a fucking clue.
Something like "you stupid bastard" or something like that.
Yeah, I'm going to search it up very briefly before we obviously shuffle off. Paul McCartney, Paul McCharmley, Liam Gallagher, Margarita. I met him a few times. He's been an absolute dream. The last time was at the Royal Albert Hall. He goes, "Why are you always in a rush? Sit down, sit down." I sit down. He goes, "Do you like margaritas?" I said, "Yeah, but I had something before I came out. I don't eat at this time of night." He said, "The fucking drinks, you stupid prick." I thought he was offering me a pizza. That's the most Paul McCartney thing ever. When you read that book of his and he says, "It's not you, it's me, I'm a CUNT." Yeah. That's why I laugh at these sycophants for Paul who say that he's never swore, he's this holier than thou. Bullshit, he's a scouser. What are you talking about? He's a working class scouser. Of course he fucking swears. He gave up smoking. Yeah, but he likes a joint. And he openly admits it. It's bullshit. Yep. Stop trying to make him into an angel. He's not. Fucking nonsense. But anyway, I think that'll round it up. Unless you've got anything else to ask, Stephen. I want a documentary. You want a documentary. It looks like it potentially will be a documentary. The two directors involved are very much in that sphere when it comes to the films they have made before. Obviously, Stephen Knight, brilliant producer and sort of showrunner and filmmaker. So they've got all the right people in charge. Guys who've been round the block doing these kind of things with other artists before. He's a great producer. The band are coming back together. It's just all aligning, really. We're starting to click into gear now. It's getting closer and closer, this reunion tour. And it's just going to be great to see it. Hopefully happen. Hopefully they don't kill each other before then. I'm really looking forward to it. And hopefully it is a documentary. But what's your thoughts on it? As I rock back like a fucking, I don't know, some old plantation owner from the deep. What's the word again? It's not Antipodean, that's the name of an Australian person. I can't remember. The sort of south before the Civil War. Rocking back in my crusty old rocking chair. I digress. What was your thoughts? Share them down below about a new Oasis movie, about what direction they could potentially go in. Are you looking forward to it? Anything you want to share, pop it down below in the comments section. Like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to get notifications straight to your eyes on YouTube. Follow button, notifications button over on Twitch to see us doing the exact same thing over there. And until the next time, all that's left to be said is thank you once again for watching us, and bye-bye. The Antebellum South was the name, incidentally. The Antebellum South.